All right, and with my fancy new technology, oh, I gotta take off the chair leak. There we go. Set up my assets ahead of time. Actually, let's double check one more thing. Welcome to the stream, by the way. I am Bahamut, your caster. We have a nice little scrim going on right now. On the left-hand side, we have the meme team, and on the right, we have ReGen. I just want to check one thing really quick in my next scene to make sure. Okay, so I did turn off that. Cool. Perfect. So we're going to actually have the Vala band out here on the side of ReGen. And I wonder if they're just off the bat maybe getting rid of the Vala Ariel combo. She is just a really strong player on this map, especially during the beacon phase. She's actually quite strong at just her damage output, especially with the hungering arrow. At that point, you can get onto one hero and you're really just starting to do a decent amount of damage to them. So just taking Vala out here might be hindering what they're going for. They're probably going to be... I wouldn't expect it, but maybe they'd try and lock down the gray main, right? Not first pick, though. First pick, might want to just go ahead and... I'd probably want to pick up my healer at this point. The healer pool is quite big still, but I still feel like Uther is just kind of in that top tier position, and locking him down is just a really good asset for your team. Now, if you don't need him... it's no big deal, but pairing it with the stitches goes well in this map. So I would say maybe Uther, then try and get the stitches on the second pick. And they're actually going to go ahead and pick up the Gul'dan here. So they're going to first pick their damage. Meme team is going to go ahead right away and pick up the Stukov. So let's talk about the Gul'dan really quick. That's really, really powerful in this map because of the wave clear. So meme team will go ahead and in response say, you've got good wave clear, let's get our good wave clear. So we've got Kael'thas up against that. Now Stukov does provide an interesting aspect to the draft here because he does have that silence, which is extremely strong on these points. So now on the side of ReGen though, I'm actually reading chat. It's actually a respect ban was the Vala. So respect ban out of ReGen right off the bat. But going into their next two picks, they're gonna want to. Subscriber has been acquired. Thank you so much for the subscription, Herda. Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and. I can only assume that they'd be leaning. Subscriber has been acquired. Thank you so much, Ragnarok. Thank you both for subbing. That's awesome of you guys. They're gonna be picking up the Ariel and the Stitches. So this is I was gonna start talking about this, but just wonderful people are subbing, and thanks again. The Ariel pairs well into the Gul'dan because of the damage output that he will be providing in the with his just wave clear, the Fel Flame that he'll be throwing out constantly. And then the Stitches just pairs well for that hook. Now, this is what I was kind of talking about with the Uther. You can hook and then get the stun from the Uther, but the Ariel is a fine pickup here as well because the fact that there are these beacon phases, there are a lot of corridor-ish areas on this map where Ariel, I think, might be a little bit better in being able to whip someone who's kind of running away or, you know, displacement, just to kind of maybe shift people out of the way, as well as knocking Stukov out of his silence. So the Ariel pickup is really strong, and the Stitches has that mini stun, so he can as well pull the KT, pull the Stukov out of that backline, and then Gul'dan can be throwing out the Corruption and the Fel Flame onto them. So the Dahaka is going to be banned out here by meme team. I'm just trying to think. The Dahaka ban works out pretty well because he does solo lanes and he's strong for that. And the extra CC with the Stitches hook would pair well. But we are going to be having... Alright, so ban-wise on the side of ReGen. Looking what they're going up against, they're going to want to maybe focus out a tank. Or maybe some sort of melee damage. If they're not going to take the Grey Main, they should ban that out themselves. They're going to actually ban out Alarak, which is just as good. He does do really well in this map where there are these team fight, you know, these forced team fights that you're going to have on bottom with the... You're usually going to have your, you know, solo up top. So then you would just have your 4-man in bottom which Alarak is just really strong. So banning that out is really, really powerful on the side of regen. But as I was starting to mention, the Greymane is still open. We still have Arthas is open as well. So they could actually pick up a strong tank and a solo laner with these 2 picks here, and then flex on their last one with maybe a Tassadar potentially. They're actually going to go ahead and pick up the Muradin, which just overall, he's just, overall just a decent tank. I mean, he plays well, he does good damage and has good CC, and they're actually going to go ahead and pick up the Falstead here on the side of Meme Team. Now, the Falstead I like because it gives them a global aspect. He can rotate from beacon to beacon. Since it is a shorter map, he doesn't really need to maneuver himself. On like Curse Hollow, you can't fly from top to bottom, but on Braxis, you could easily fly from beacon to beacon, so the response time is a little bit quicker from the Falstead, so he is quite a good asset for that global. Now, Ariel has been picked up here. I don't suspect them going into another healer, because I was going to say they could go Brightwing if they want to have that ability for the global, but right now with their comp, it's pretty good, so I don't think they need to worry too much about some extra healing. The Ariel should be able to provide that with a good battery. Now, they are still needing their solo laner and something else, maybe an off-tank like a Sonya. I think a Sonya and a Greymane would work out well here. It's actually going to be Zarya. The extra shielding to the Gul'dan and the Greymane are going to be useful, because if the Gul'dan gets in a tight spot, the shielding from Zarya can be put onto him, builds up her energy bar, and she will do a little bit extra damage. At the same time, when Greymane dives in, some damage will be going out to him, and so Zarya can shield him and get the buff from that. So in response on this last flex pick, they don't have really a big front line, so they're probably going to be... They're going to need something a little bruisery. I'm wondering if they go into an Artanis here, actually. Because an Artanis would be really, really useful. You do get the blinds at 10s, and the swap displacement that you can get might be useful. That way you can swap into a KT, Whirlwind, get a combo off of him, a stun from Muradin, you've got the sounds from the Stukov. But it's actually going to be the Sonya.
My blades are yours.
Okay. So they still went Bruiser route. They just chose Sonya, which she offers a lot of good utility on this map as a solo laner. And she just never has to go back for mana. So over, between Artanis and her, I like Sonya. I think the Ancient Spear and the Poison Spear as well that you typically take will be able to provide a little bit of dive from them with that Muradin and that Falstead. So I really like the way the draft came out for both teams. All right, and we are going to head into this first match. So on the left-hand side, we have Rexpa on Kael'thas, Stormy 13 on Falstead, Varth for the win on Muradin, Zalchio on Stukov, and Samwise on Sonya. That is the meme team. On the right-hand side, we have Murda on Greymane, Ragnar on Ariel, Trenchfont on Gul'dan, Templart on Stitches, and Savior on Zarya. That is ReGen. So going into this Braxis holdout, we did talk about solo laners and everything. We'll probably have the Greymane in top against the Sonya. And then in the bottom, we're going to have the rest of the both teams. And then that Falstead's going to be able to provide a little bit of, I guess, worry on the side of ReGen. Because if the Sonya can get the Greymane a little low, Falstead can fly in and confirm the kill if... he's getting away from Sonya, or, it's a tactical move they can make, which is going to be interesting to see. So here we are, loading into our first game between these two.
Powering up.
We're about to begin.
Alrighty, so checking into some of these first level talents here. We're going to have the Mana Addict out of the Kael'thas, actually. We're not going to be going into the Convection stacks. We're going to have the auto attack from the
Systems
Falstead.
online in 10
Stukov will
seconds.
actually be taking the Fetid Touch
5,
rather than the increased
4,
area.
3, 2, 1.
We're going to block from the Stitches.
Gates open.
Looks like we're going to have the Gunneus cocktail build from the Greymane. So here we go into our first match. We did have the Falstead fly right into this bottom area. The Stitches will check it, but it looks like they'll be able to get out. They do use the grenade to get vision. They kind of move out of there.
Red team.
And I apologize. I didn't even see that. The Sonya got knocked out right away there. I don't know what happened, but I'm sorry that I missed it. So, in the bottom lane, though, we are going to have this 4-man as we talked about. That Falstead flying looks like it won't be used, mostly probably because it's on cooldown, because it is a 60-second cooldown at this point. So since he flew into the bottom lane, he cannot fly top. So that gives a little bit of extra push on the side of ReGen. This is going to be a double whirlwind from the Kael'thas, but it will not be able to yield any kills here. There's a hook onto Varth, but he will be able to dwarf hop out. Now in top lane, I'm trying to watch health bars now too. We have the silence out from the Stukovs. That does make some of the members have to move away a little bit here. Okay. So at this point, it looks like a lot of the people are just kind of posturing up. They're trying not to lose any members to sway the XP anymore. Now, in top lane, really quick, we do have this Greymane pushing quite hard into the Sonya. We do have the silence, which will force them out from this bush. Now, they are kind of grouping up here together. They did get a little bit stacked. KT is going to benefit from this quite immensely. They do get the kill onto the Gul'dan, so most of their damage is gone. They do have the slow and the silence onto some of these members. Do they pick up the Stitches as well? Looks like no. And that's going to be the first beacon phase. So 1-to-1 kills. Looks like it's going to be pretty even, but we do have the Falstead flying up at this point, so we do see the Greymane probably falling. He does have a disengage. He did, maybe it was on cooldown? I don't know. I don't play enough Greymane to know exactly, but he did not have the ability to get out. But there's the whip that we talked about in draft from the Ariel to kind of push that Muradin just out of position. He does use his Dwarf Hop over the wall, and they will get away, so that is going to be the bottom captured by ReGen. So in top we do have the Sonya and the Falstead currently. That leaves only 3 members on the side of Mean Team available for this defense. They have to play a little bit safe here. They do have their tank, Kael'thas, and their healer. But at the same time, it's a numbers kind of advantage here. And with the shielding from Zarya, the hook from the Stitches, they really don't want to get caught out and picked off here. So we do have Falstead. Looks like he went back. He probably should have flight, so he is going to be coming in here. We do have... Okay, so it's a 4v4, but we do have the damage coming out onto the Muradin, who will be able to get away. Now, the beacons were channeled for just a split second, I believe, for ReGen. The hook does come out from the Stitches onto the Muradin. He will be walking away. There is a small... Okay, Pyro Bomb did not get spread. Or, excuse me, the Chain Bomb did not get spread. And it looks like in top lane, we are just going to be having our matchup once again. They tried to go for the Globe Deny, but it didn't work out. And actually, the Silence looks like it will be netting them a kill on the side of Meme Team. And with that, they will be able to control this bottom beacon. And Sonya on top will be capturing the top, or capturing that one up there. And it looks like we are going to have the Stitches falling again. Greymane will actually be falling as well. I think I misspoke. I don't think Stitches, that was Stitches' first death actually. But this will be a 100% beacon going over to the side of Mean Team in bottom lane. Now, in draft, this is the reason Gul'dan got picked up first. We can just check in while these Zerg are coming out, actually. He actually went Corruption stacks. I was thinking he would go into the Felflame stacks. But the Gul'dan does provide a significant amount of wave clear on this map. And you can also see, just want to note, the Ariel Hope Bar is being filled up quite quickly from him. We're going to have a Whirlwind from PT. It will not be able to get a kill, though. So at this point, they are pushing in quite hard here on the side of Mean Team. They will be able to potentially get a kill. There's a huge whirlwind from KT. That's going to be 2 kills right away, and this is going to be a third with the Zarya falling here. They will be able to confirm this fort, and maybe a little bit of that keep gate, depending on how aggressive they want to get. Top lane has been kind of controlled at this point from the Sonya. Looks pretty equal, but there's no surprise kills from the Greymane onto Sonya at this point. What they're going to do here is they're going to wait for the regen globe so that all their members can get it. The rest of the team will be coming back up here, so they will not be getting anything from this peak wall. So at this point, though, we are going to be having the team transfer to top. Now, the reason that they're doing this is because the Zerg pens are going to flip on the next phase. They can also potentially get a pick onto this Greymane, who is quite low. The Falstad does fly forward, they get the hammering out, silence is there, and there's going to be a dead Wolfman. So they can start to work down this gate a little bit since there's no one present there. And with this gate, this will also, if they get the 2 towers, I believe that should net them 10. And that's going to be in a really difficult position for ReGen to be in. And they actually go ahead and steal away their camp here. This just Varth right there just really pushing into some of these members. We'll get the whip back. He does get the stun out. That's just aggressive body blocking in the bush, whereas the rest of his team wasn't even there. But at the same time, Murden does have the ability to get out with his dwarf hop. And at this point, they are going to be confirming the gate. They do have their 10s. So we're going to have the Phoenix, the Gust, the Avatar. Looks like the Push. I can't remember the name. Massive Shove. And Sonya's holding, but I'm thinking it's going to be Elite. And that's just me. We do have a huge whirlwind onto some of those members. The Gust did come out, and it also pushed 2 of them back, which confirmed the first kill. Now Stitches does get pushed into a wall and smushed up against that. It looks like Greymane will also be falling in bottom, I believe. Yeah, and that was against the... They didn't go into the leap. They ended up going into Wrath of the Berserker. But the coordination that came out right there was extremely, extremely strong. The ability to silence the members, whirlwind them, and then have the Falstad perfectly barrel roll just ahead of them to push them back. It's very good coordination on the side of Meme Team. Now, at this point, on the side of ReGen, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to turtle up. They're going to need to play extremely safe and play by their gates. If they can potentially get a pick off, that would be beneficial to them, but roaming at this point is going to be difficult. So what they're going to do is they're going to work as a 5-man group. This camp will be picked up here. Now, they are aggressing onto them. They do have their tents, so they're probably going to be looking for the fight here. Greymane is a little far forward. He does have the disengage to be able to get back. There's the Zarya shield to protect him as well. Looks like they will get the full disengage at this point. They will not be losing any members. And they, on the side of Meme Team, they will just go ahead and let this solo... I think it's... Is it a Reaper? No. Vulture? I can't remember the StarCraft unit name. But they're just going to let that push up a little bit, which will just provide them that vision of where the enemy team is now. We do have an aggressive posture from the Stukov. The rest of the team is coming in. The Murden does jump forward. He does not get anyone with a stun. Now there's a huge silence from the Stukov into a KT Whirlwind. They don't get a kill, but what they start to do is work down this gate a little bit. Sonya will be picking up the hard camp in the top left over here. And that's going to be pushing into this top wave with the Zerg pen as well. I'm curious if they're going to go for a boss. It looks like they were moving towards it, but the Zerg wave happened first. Now, Murda, be careful. They do see him in the bush. He does get the slow onto him. The silence is there. They take him down to about half health. He will be able to tap as well. Alright, so then this is going to be a keep gate getting pressured by this 100% Zerg wave and also this hard camp. Now, ReGen does have their 10s as well. There's just this leap onto the Gul'dan, so he wasn't even able to use his Horrify to zone some of these members away. Curse Bullet was picked up. It does go out onto the Murden, who will be taking the majority of his health, but we also are going to have the Sonya falling here. Varth is trying to body block the Greymane from getting in. Crystal Aegis comes out and saves the Stitches at the last second. The damage would have been... Oh my god. I can't believe that Stitches got out. Now, they will be able to... It looks like they will lose their keep, but they will be able to save the core, which is going to be extremely strong on the side of ReGen. Really powerful play by them that they were able to save the majority of their members there. I think they only lost to Gul'dan, and he actually came up right as the end of that disengage started. So now at the point of ReGen, they're going to be, as you see, they're going to play extremely safe here. They're going to check all the bushes. They're going to make sure that they try and get a little bit of lane pressure going, especially in this top lane where there's a missing keep. That's going to be one of those things that you want to constantly be pushing back because of the fact that there are these catapults, which will help the lane push forward all the time. Now, they are scouting out at this point. They do have 13, so they're going to be looking to take a fight. They do have the vision from the bush. Zarya does check it, and some of the members do split off. Sonya getting a little aggressive and taking one of those corruption stacks. Now, while we have these rotations happening, let's just take a quick peek at some of the questing talents. The corruption looks like it's just about finishing up, as well as the season marksman stacks for the false dead. The KT and the Stukov both finished theirs, and Ariel's just about halfway through her whip talents. So with this camp already being picked up in the bottom lane, they'll go ahead and depush it. And really at this point, in this phase of the game, ReGen, they're just kind of waiting for the mini waves to get to them so they can depush them and get the experience in a safe manner. That gives the chance for Meme Team to go ahead and pick up the spots because they do see that in this bottom wave they are clearing as a 5-man group. They're not going to be aggressing without their 13. So without this next level, ReGen's just going to have to go ahead and take a boss in the bottom lane. And this camp being spawned, it's just perfect timing on the side of Meme Team. The ability that they'll let this push up with the boss is going to be pretty strong. Now, they'll be probably going back at this point for the beacon phase. No, they're going to be pushing up with the boss. This is what I was wondering. Looks like they're going to have the Sonya going in. She's going to be coming with the team. So we do have the boss and this hard camp pushing up, and the Curse Bullet does come out. I believe it connects onto the Muradin, who is about half health. Now he does have Avatar. The Phoenix does come out from the KT. Horrify is there to push the Sonya back, but the Aegis comes out at the last second to get rid of the damage, but they end up losing the Ariel anyways. There is a... Oh my god, the stun comes out from the Muradin. Gets onto some of the other members behind him. Or excuse me, the Greymane. And with this boss, they looks like they're going to be aggressing towards the core. Now they do have 2 dead. There is the expulsion zone from the Zarya, but I do not think that's going to be working out. They do get the Gust out here. And it looks like the first game will be going over to Meme Team. GG, well played. Alrighty, and welcome back to the game. We are going into our second matchup here. On the left-hand side, we have Meme Team, who just won on Brax's Holdout, and on the right-hand side, we have ReGen. Now, this is a friendly scrim. People just... reading Twitch chat. Yes, I do think the kids do call it Bay. Or spell it Bay. So the first map was won by Meme Team on Brax's Holdout, so it looks like we're going to be going into Infernal Shrines here. So first ban. Knocking out someone strong who works well on the shrines is a crit first consideration. Okay. Because what I'm thinking is you can consider the Kerrigan. I mean, she's not the best, she's not the greatest on this map, but the Dahaka I see as way more valuable. I was leaning Kerrigan because I was like, you can combo it together a little bit, but at the same time, there are just people who do it better. There's people who have way better clear on the shrines, who are way better at fighting on the shrines, so the Dahaka is a strong ban here because of the fact that he does have good clear, he has good global presence, and he has good lane pushing. And the fact that they're oops, excuse me, I punched my mic. The fact that they're banning this out, I wonder if they're running something that works a little bit better when they're together, so maybe it doesn't have that great wave clear. So banning out the Dahaka is a way for them to kind of say, all right, we can run something that's a little less laning focused, because they'll probably end up, running a solo man on top, and then they'll do a 4-man mid to bottom. It's typically what I believe we see on this map. The rotations aren't too long, so it tends to work out. But ReGen went ahead and banned out the Stukov, so the control that you would potentially get on the Shrine is going to be banned out. Now, Genji picked up hypermobile hero, and extremely hard to deal with, especially on maps like this where there's a lot of walls for him to jump over. There's a lot of obstacles that he can utilize in the terrain, because he can just sit there and poke you, and then when he's done or he gets in trouble, he has his dash, he has his flip. So it's just a hyper active character. It's kind of hard to deal with. So on the first two picks for ReGen, though, the stitches worked out for them really well. The hooks were landing, so I'm wondering if maybe they go into a slam build stitches again, because that's good for these shrine engagements. Now the slam was nerfed a wee bit, so I don't know if he's fallen out of grace, but at the same time, because the Uther stitches is just a strong combination, works well on this map. But they're gonna go ahead and pick up Ariel and Uther here, so they're gonna go for double healer, which means that they're gonna go with a battery. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see like a de-shielded tracer from ReGen. They also could go de-shield into the gray main if they solo tank. They could go like trace. Let's talk about meme teams. 2 pickups before the next ban phase. They're gonna go ahead and get Varian here. The taunt's gonna be an extremely useful talent, and then the Li Ming with that. So it's gonna be good poke damage onto these shrines, as well as the beam to melt some of the heroes from far away and confirm some kills and snowball a fight. At this point, though, ReGen has choked out quite a bit of the hero or the healer pool. And I'm curious to see if they're going to continue to do that by maybe taking out the Rhaegar. I wouldn't be too surprised if they took out the Rhaegar, because that would leave... I mean, Lucio works fine. It's just I think the Rhaegar might be a little bit stronger here. The AoE healing that Lucio gives is pretty powerful. But then again, you can also subtract the Lucio for a Brightwing and get a global, as well as some shielding or some pixie dust, so the ability damage could be reduced. But the Rhaegar ban here it's a smart choice because he's just a strong healer, and the Ancestral is just a beneficial thing to have, especially on your tank. These long fights, you can give him a second health bar, and he just he's in there for another health bar of fight. And then the Vala was banned out because she pairs well with the Ariel. But I don't think that's the route that they're going to be going. They're also going to be needing a tank here, because I don't think they're going to want to flex a tank on their last slot. Typically, that's usually not your odd pick, but you save, that's your last pick. Especially if your last pick, you definitely get to kind of have some sort of response to the next two that are going to be coming from meme team. But at this point, they're going to need some damage, and I honestly, if they're comfortable with the solo tank, the Tracer and a Greymane wouldn't be a bad idea. But a Mage might be helpful here as well, so maybe the Gul'dan again with the Tracer. It's just they don't have a big front line at that point. So they are going to get the Arthas and the Gul'dan. So the Gul'dan I keep bringing up is he does have pretty good presence on the shrine, as well as he has some good poke damage. And since they are going to be fighting there, corruption will be a hard thing to deal with, because of the fact that if it gets put in front of you, you can either rotate into the team, push your face into the enemy team, or run kind of through it, because there's some choke points you can utilize here. Now, last 2 picks on the side of meme team. So they've got their hypermobile character Genji. They've got tank Varian. Got Li Ming for poke damage. The Greymane wouldn't be a bad pickup here, and they're gonna need a healer as well. And I kind of think that a Brightwing would round them out, because Brightwing gives a global to their team, I talked about Lucio, and the shielding would be pretty good. But Malfurion will be picked up, and actually that's a stronger pick. With the Malthael, actually. I wonder if they're thinking that this last pick is going to be a second tank, and so they're kind of banking on this last pick to be a tank. That way the Malthael will get full value. Now he will still get value up against that Arthas and the Tormented Souls and the 5-man during the Shrine phase is going to be pretty beneficial at 10. And the silence that's going to come from Malfurion as well. That's one thing I kind of overlooked. I was thinking for Brightwing because of AoE healing and just wasn't sure. Also, the mana that he gives will be beneficial to the Li Ming too. So Malfurion's a strong pick up there. This last pick is being thought about though. I think it's going to be some extra damage. They could go for a Bruiser, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They're going to go for the Sonya, actually. Okay. Sonya's a strong solo Shriner, solo laner as well. She'll probably be going up against the Malthael? Who's going to be the solo laner on the set of meme team? Because it's going to be Sonya on top, and then you'll have the 4-man between mid and bottom, but probably from the rest of the 4 members in the set of ReGen. But what do you do? Alrighty, so here we go into our second game. On the left-hand side, we have Meme Team with Rexpa on Li Ming, Stormy13 on Malthael, Varth for the win on Varian, Samwise on Genji, look at that, and Zalchio, I'm never getting his name right, on Malfurion. I think it's Zalakio, I believe is the right way to say it. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with Murda on Sonya, Savior on Uther, Templar on Arthas, Ragnarok on Ariel, and Trench Fun on Gul'dan. I'm still confused. Like, are they really gonna run their Malthael as the solo laner and top? Cause what do you do? Alrighty, so let's take a quick peek at some of these first taunts that come in while I get a little bit of water.
The battle begins in 10 seconds.
Alrighty, so here we go into our second game. Now, Malthael did take Fear the Reaper, so he will have that increased movement speed. Looks like Arthas will be taking Frost Presence. Nothing too out of the ordinary. The Fell Flame from the Gul'dan. So they are going to have the Malthael on top up against the Sonya. So I'm wondering. I'm wondering how that's going to work out. I do not know enough about Malthael to be sure about his solo laning ability, but it looks like he will be able to hold his own against the Sonya for now. We do have a root coming out from the Arthas here. It will connect onto that backline Malfurion. Root from the Malfurion will connect onto the Uther. So now at this point we are going to be starting to see that 4-man rotation out of Meme Team. So they are going to be wanting to basically just push up the wave, rotate back up to the other side, and just really focus on the experience game. They actually do have their Li Ming still in mid, pushing that up a little bit, already soaking here, which is going to be a useful tactic because of the fact that they pulled 4 men down here. They are losing a little bit of soak in mid, and that does pressure the gate as well. Now they do rotate with the Li Ming. They rotate her down here so they can focus the enemy team. There is a root on to the Arthas, who does get a counter root, which I think saved him right there. That was pretty good. So the Gul'dan will be going into the mid lane. You can see already how quickly he's making just Swiss cheese of this lane. And I want to just already check in. He's already at 3 stacks. Malfurion's already at 23 Moonburn stacks. So once this Gul'dan gets into his Fel Flame stacks, really, once he finishes those are going to be an extremely strong talent. They do get the stun onto the Genji. And it looks like with this, they are just kind of slowing down the rotation because... Oh, Sonya should be able to handle that Malthael. And I guess they're just really just slowing down the rotation. The 4s are on the side of Meme Team. Does not look like anything too out of the ordinary. We have Mr. Shuriken from the Genji, the continuing shield wall from the Varian. Li Ming is actually going to go into her dominance. It looks like we are going to have a small engage here. We do have the Fel Flame coming out. There is a root from the other, so I did not believe it connected onto anyone, but the Varian comes out from the bushes onto one of the members. Pushes them back a little bit here. Now that they're all present for the fight, I think the Varian was just hiding out, so they played a little bit more aggressive on the side of ReGen here. Arthas will be starting this altar, but the Sonya will be spinning. Will she be able to? She gets out, but the Arthas will be falling. Now, there is a stun onto the Malthael. There is another reset for the Li Ming off of the Sonya. Will they get another kill? The Genji gets a reset, but he ends up dying to the towers, and that is going to be a 3-for-1 trade. With that, though, we are going to be having this altar phase probably going over to Meme Team. The rest of the team is rotating back up from spawn on the side of ReGen, but with the laning that they're already doing in mid, they want to send some of their assets down there, and it looks like they will not be able to... I'm just looking at minimap. Looks like they will be able to push that Li Ming back, and I think they're just going to forego the main defense on this and just really try and soak up. So they put their Sonya in bottom, who's going to be going up against the Li Ming for now. She will be able to get a little bit of work on this gate for the meantime. Now they are going to get this camp, which will create a little bit of mid lane pressure. Genji trying to keep that experience soak up, as well as the Li Ming trying to soak all the lanes so that they don't get to 7s ahead of them, or at least work down some of these gates. And this is smarter than set of ReGen. They said that they know they can't get it, so they're going to work on trying to get 7s. This is Varian. Varian all by himself there for a second, with 4 men rotating right by him. So they do get back up in time for the Punisher to get there. They are spreading out so that the Punisher only hops onto one of the members. But this will get the poke. He comes over the gate. So at this point, we will not have any of the members jumping over. They will just be working down this gate right now. And they'll go ahead and just burn that. So they burn it down. They lose the gate. Nothing too major. They save the fort. They save their wells. For now, this top lane didn't get too much work done to it. Now, let's just check into here. There are some cannon shots. A little bit of health gone in bottom against the Sonya. In mid, there was not much besides some cannon shots. The Sonya will be rotating in here, potentially for a pick onto Genji. They are actually going to be chasing down this Varian currently. Varian does come in. The spear barely misses. Genji will be starting to aggress onto some of the members, getting this poke, and this is what we were talking about. He can just get so sticky onto some of these members, and he just chooses when he wants to leave. Now he is going to aggress further. Ariel is going to be rooted. He does actually front flip forward, and that will help him finish his 4th level quest to the midpoint, I believe. Just wanted to check the Gul'dan stacks there really quickly. He is at about 21 of his Fel Flame stacks, which I believe he needs 40. So with all these engagements currently happening and how often he's been throwing it out lately, he will be finishing this up quite soon. Now, trying to keep an eye on everything right now. Varian will be falling. The Li Ming actually came in there and started to pull them down away from the team, but I think they just continued to aggress onto that Varian, which led to the kill. Sonya will be getting this camp in top lane, which should be pushing up. Now, since the first Punisher was there, they can expect it to be in mid or bottom, so they're going to go ahead and try and get as much pressure in that top lane before this next altar phase, as well as try and finish their 10s within the next 10 seconds. But the one thing that they're going to want to do is exactly, it's going to delay this Malthael from coming down because the fact that that camp is going to be pushing onto the gate there. And left uncontested, it will do quite a bit of damage. And since they are having this lane pressure currently, This will buy them enough time for the altar to not be spawned, but it actually just got started. Now they are going to be really trying to focus on their 10s here. They want to go into this engagement with the same power spike. Now Malthael is still showing in top lane, so they can aggress onto here because of the fact that they do not have all 5 members. If they can just get a little bit of side soak, they might be able to get their 10s here. They do get a root on 2 of the members. Looks like Uther will be coming for an aggressive... Nope, okay. I was thinking that they were going for a flank onto some of the members, but they all kind of... Genji goes in for the extra kill, but he ends up getting stunned out. Will this be the follow from? There is a root on Doom as well, but some of the members have to back up. Now, the Gul'dan did not have much health. There is a silence from the Malfurion, but also the Horrify came out at the same time, so that splits some of the members towards the gate. Now, they will be burning this down. There is the camp currently pushing in from the bottom as well. Sonya will be coming in with a leap that will be stunning some of the members. They do aggress onto here. Now there is the taunt from the Varian onto the Sonya. Genji does take out his Dragon Blade. He will be starting to slash some of them down, but he will be dying himself. Now there is a stun onto the Malthael. The Tormented Souls was not able to keep him alive, and that's going to be 2 kills on the side of ReGen. So, Meme Team getting a little too aggressive, I think. The Sonya leap, I think, caught them very off guard. They did not expect that. And then the damage from the Gul'dan was just stacked right there. And Sonya spinning and just the root from the Arthas, they just really, really confirmed the kills that they needed. So, smart and strong play on the side of ReGen. Let's see if they can continue it into this Punisher. It's a little bit stronger than the one that was pushing up against them, but it is only about an 8-minute Punisher, so the scaling isn't significant enough where, you know, they really need to worry about it. So they probably will be doing the same thing. They pull it over by these 2 towers. The 2 towers will be shooting onto the Punisher. Meanwhile, ReGen will be working down this gate here. They'll probably be just the same thing. And as top lane happened, they confirmed the... Okay, that one little spear from the minion. They confirm the gate there. Now, looks like Meme Team knows that they're going for this. They go in for an aggressive dive. There is a Horrify to zone some of the members away. Gul'dan is getting significant damage into this little corridor. There is a silence out from the Malfurion, so he will not be able to use any of his abilities. And with that, though, Sonya does have leap. Will she be able to go over the wall? She does not. Okay, so the D-shield does come out onto the Gul'dan to keep them safe. There's a Tormented Souls from the Malthael, who will get whipped into this corner, getting body blocked by Murda, who gets... he gets the Crystal Aegis at the last second, and I think that Malthael just needed one more auto attack, unfortunately. Meanwhile, though, we do have this camp that's currently pushing up. It just got picked up during the start of that engagement, so we'll be working down that 1 tower there. Now, the next Punisher should be in middle lane by the probability of, you know, it was in top and bottom. There is a small, like, fractional percentage that it can be in another lane, but typically you can kind of predict this rotation. It should be mid next. So you're going to want to try and really push in at this point into mid as hard as possible, because the fact that since the next Punisher will be there, you really want to make sure that you kind of put yourself in a winning position. So that's what it looks like they're going to be doing here. Now, there is a dive onto this rotation. The Li Ming does get the 1 reset. Genji does use his Dragon Blade come out as well, and there's another reset. Li Ming does body block the Arthas from getting around them. That is going to be 3 kills. Now, now it just looks like I'm talking out of my butt because it's in top lane. But they do catch the Sonya Hughes rotating. Will she have a leap to get out? The D shield was not there. Genji does have a dash. Will the W be able to save? Okay. I've seen Genjis where they dive in like that. The W doesn't last long enough, or they don't have like another disengage, and they end up just getting like tower shotted to death. But at the same time, he could have taken those tower shots. And I think they were on a minion, so they didn't hit him. But the tower shots would have just bounced off of him onto the Sonya, which would have also potentially netted them that kill. So at this point, Meme Team will be getting this camp, buying a little bit of time for them to kind of set themselves up on this next beacon phase. I'm calling it the wrong shrine phase. Now with ReGen full and ready to go in, they don't have leap. They also don't have Dragon Blade on the side of Meme Team, so I'm curious to see how this fight's going to be going. Now, Varian does come out, gets an initial stun. They do automatically get the kill onto the Gul'dan. There's a significant amount of damage coming out from the Malthael on the Tormented Souls, and that's going to be the Arthas falling as well. Now, it's left as a miniature Sonya and just the Uther, who looks like they will be getting taunted on the Uther. He will be falling. He does have some heals for the Sonya, who will be able to leap by this tower and get out. So that will be one of the members at least getting out alive. Now, with that much being killed, with that many members being killed, meme team says that they can go back, they can get full, and it looks like they'll be pushing up with this Punisher. Malthael will be working on this shrine by himself, which is going to take quite a bit of time. But this allows them to de-push their lanes. They can push up in middle. Nope, I guess not. They're going to go ahead and get this camp, and that'll be pushing with the Punisher. Gul'dan does get over here in time to help stop the push onto this tower. This will buy them a little bit of time once the Punisher phase does start. Looks like the Leeming will be just clearing up this mid. Alright, so they hold the last minion until the Leeming gets right there. They capture it. And just really quickly, it looks like we're almost done with all of our questing talents. They're going to go ahead on the side of ReGen and sacrifice this fort. They know that they're not going to be able to defend it, especially with the hard camp pushing up as well. So on this, we are going to have the Arthas, who does proc the jump. They are going to be baiting it over to the same two towers as we saw by most people. But they're going to go ahead and actually go around the tower here, go aggressively into this. The Crystal Aegis does come out onto one of the members. Does he have the ability to live? The Arthas is so low. He does end up dying. Do we end up... Nope. We end up losing the Uther as well as the Ariel too. And with this, now they don't have a Punisher to push up with, and it looks like they want to go in to end the game. Sonya is up and alive, but I don't know if she can really do this all by herself. She does get taunted by the Varian. The Genji Dash does come out, but she has the ability to hop back into her core. GGs are called out. Meme team will take the second game. Well played.